For me, as a composer, I always call myself an expressionist. I do things the way I feel rather than impressing people. For me, I try to bring something new, and I want to push many of our composers to do that. You can see some people are trying, but they are afraid. They think their music will become obsolete. Why not do something that is different from the norm? If your music will be obsolete, it depends on you. So you need to be unique, and people will find that from you.
Hello, and welcome to the Virtuoso podcast. This is the platform where we discuss the depth and the evolving story of Ghanaian choral and art music. My guest today is Mr. Kwaku Boakye-Frimpong. I call him the Afrocentric musician, and I'm your host, Theophil Asamoah Jedu. Once again, welcome to the Virtuoso podcast. Hello, Kwaku.
Hi.
Welcome to the Virtuoso podcast.
Thank you very much.
It's great to have you.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here
Yeah,
too.
you're our first guest since we went on a break.
Oh, yeah, I noticed.
Yeah.
In fact, I got to a time I was wondering, I thought that maybe I was missing the notifications. I went on the YouTube channel and I realized, oh, okay, maybe I'm probably on a break.
Yeah, but we're back.
Yeah,
you're our first guest.
Oh, great. Yeah.
So like I usually do, I like to start by getting to learn about our guest's childhood. I call you an Afrocentric musician. Yeah. Tell me about your childhood.
Okay, so first of all, I am Kwaku Boakye-Frimpong, and I was born in South Africa. But at the age of 3 years, I moved to Ghana. In fact, both of my parents are Ghanaians. So I moved to Ghana with my mother and then my two sisters. And growing up, if I say maybe musically, I was not really introduced to music officially, like I wasn't learning an instrument, but I loved music a lot. In fact, Beethoven's Fairy, my mother says I used to sleep to that.
Oh, wow.
They'll play it for me, and then by the time I realize I sleep. But when I entered, when I go to the children section of the church, that's Deeper Life. I was actually born into Deeper Life Bible Church. Yes, I joined the children choir. So, yes, I used to sing. It will come as a surprise to a lot of people.
I've never heard you sing.
Yeah. In fact, now I've hidden it. I prefer to rather compose instead of... Yeah. So, as time went on, I got a chance to also learn the atenteben. Okay. Yes. And that's from school, Dex Educational Institute in Tema. Yeah, so that's where I learned how to play the atenteben. So we formed an atenteben ensemble, and then I was heading it. Yes, I was sort of their conductor, or let me say their MD at that point in time. Yeah, so basically that's how my childhood in musicianship began. Yes, and later on I started learning the violin, also in Deeper Life. Actually, Deeper Life has an orchestra, so I wanted to join.
A very strong orchestra in the Deeper Life.
Yeah. And then I joined. I learned how to play the violin. In fact, my teacher, her name is Ida. And she just found me somewhere. I was just idling about, and then she asked me to come and then to start learning the violin. And then that's how I picked it up. And I think through that, my interest in classical music, though it was there, this time it peaked, it had a very high peak. So I began to, learn more about classical music, the composers. So right there in JSS, on my free period, I'll go to a library, and then there's this encyclopedia called World Book. Yeah. It has A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So you pick one of them, and then maybe if it's A, then you find a composer whose name starts with A, and you learn about them. And then the other music books, so I began, learning music theory. But even before that, we were doing music and dance.
Okay, as a subject
in school. So that's also helped me to, solidify my base in music. So I think basically, I don't know if there's more to my childhood that I would have to talk about.
No, we'll get into it. You know, it's interesting you speak about music and dance, because when I was in school, I loved that subject a lot.
Yes.
But my colleague students used to call music the most useless subject in class. Yeah. That's MU.
Yeah, MUSIC. Yeah. And in fact, anytime they say that, it hurts me. Yeah, but I just keep quiet about it.
Yeah. But are your parents musical at all?
My mother.
Okay.
She was a chorister in the Methodist Church.
Oh, okay.
And later on, she joined Deeper Life too. In fact, Tema Deeper Life Church, the choir, she's part of the founding members of the Tema Deeper Life choir. Yes.
So your mother, you've spoken about Ida.
Yes, Ida was my teacher, my
Were there
first
any
violin
other
teacher.
early musical influences?
Yes, and then there's also Mr. Richard, in fact, Engineer Richard Densu. He's one of the senior managers of MTN. He started teaching me how to play the keyboard.
Oh,
Yes.
great.
Unfortunately, he wasn't having enough time, but at least the base that he gives me forms part of the foundations that made me who I am today. Yes. And we also have, in fact, let me even talk about my choir master by then too, James Nyame. He was a youth choir master. He gave me some grounds in music. And then there's also one Philip Tete. He was the orchestra leader in the Palai Fortema region. Awesome. Yes, he encouraged me to keep learning more, and then he encouraged me to also pick up orchestration. Wow. Yes, yeah.
Because that work he must have done has borne fruit.
Yeah.
Because you are doing world-class orchestrations now. But we'll get into all that.
Sure.
How did you get the name The Black Handle?
Funny story. When I started learning how to compose, in fact, by then, one of the composers I was exposed to and fascinated with was George Frederick Handel.
Okay.
And so when I began to learn how to compose, some of the works that I was writing sounded like his simple music. So someone will hear it and like, hey, say Handel. And then one of my friends, his name is Jeremiah Marty. Jeremiah Marty just said, no, he's dark, so call him the Black Handle, and the name got stuck.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. In fact, someone even, a designing student, he created a Photoshop of me where he took off Handel's face and then he put my face there and then it started trending.
Okay.
And it became Black Handle. In fact, I've been trying to let go of the name, but it still remains.
Yeah. When I first encountered you on social media, actually, and I saw the name Black Handle, and I was like, who is this audacious guy who is pitching himself with the great handle? But over the years, I've seen your work, and you are getting there.
Yeah,
you're getting there. I usually look for one word that I can use to describe people that I encounter, and for you, the word that came to mind was impeninsem. Are you impeninsem?
I am. And it's part of my upbringing. Most of the time, I find myself among adults. In fact, my siblings, I'm the last born, let me say third.
Okay.
So 1, 2. Now the second born is 10 years older than I am.
Oh, wow.
So even at home, I'm always with adults. Anywhere I go, so I think that's part of the reason I'm in Penisem. So because of that, people see me and then they think I'm in my 40s or something. I know that I'm a small boy.
Yeah. No, but and it's not in that. When Ghanaians say Penisem, often it's more derogatory. But for you, I think it comes out in your music. I see the reincarnation of the Nketiers and the Amus in you. Have they been of any influence?
They have.
Like that?
They have. In fact, Amu, studying from Amu's works, it's helped me to appreciate how to use language to, craft your compositions. For me, there's one thing that I believe in, and in fact, it's something that is usually taught in the universities. They call something the text-tone relation.
Of course, yeah.
Whereby your the melody you write, especially if you're writing for local language, the melody you're writing should sound like how you speak. Otherwise, you end up creating different meanings. For example, if you have Yesu, and then you're not careful, you either do Yesu or Yesu. It might end up creating two different meanings. And that is what usually guide my compositions when I'm writing for, the vernacular. Yes. And aside that, even Nketiah himself has also influenced me, especially instrumental compositions. He's part of my foundation when it comes to composing instrumental music that fits or that is, identifiably African. Yes. We also even have George Doe. George Doe, his orchestral compositions have also inspired me a lot, especially one called Echoes.
Okay.
Yes, and it's really, really inspired me a lot. So these are one of the three major composers of. Okay, let me say George Doe is still alive. So I didn't even.
Yeah. I mean, look, what you do is remarkable to me
Thank you.
because I think you're not just writing music. You know, we conductors, we take compositions and we try to interpret, right? But what you are doing, you are literally forming concepts. And I read something, the Afrocentric classical music framework.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Okay, so when I did my first, in fact, this also comes as a surprise to people. I did my first degree in music just recently.
Okay.
I graduated in 2024.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And for my final year project, I know a lot of people would like to do, final composition, and then somebody will say that, okay, I have found this text from a certain village. I want to use it for a choral composition, and then they are done. For me, I rather wanted to write. I wanted to formulate a kind of framework that will help composers to compose music that is, uniquely African, and not just for even us African composers, even foreign composers. Because I've seen certain things that you hear certain compositions from some Western composers, and you're like, no, this is not African. They are trying to be African, but you are not executing it properly. So the framework helps to, it has some certain elements that helps the composer, to create music that as soon as you hear it, you know that, okay, this is African music. Yes. And also it's even one of the things to it helps to do away with, there's this notion that African music, there has to be drums. People think that African music is characterized by drums, but no. If you pick Nyomkro, when they are starting, there's no drums. As soon as you hear it, you know that it is African music. Yes. Even if you pick some of the instrumental works by Nketia, there's no drums, it's just piano, but you hear the Africanness in it. So that's what the framework also enforces.
Yeah. It was absolutely remarkable. But how is it different from is there a relationship between this sort of framework and the Western classical styles?
All right. So the differences is this one usually concentrates on African rhythms, in the sense that if I want to compose, let's say the inspiration is from Volta region. So the best rhythms for me to use is something that is maybe Agbaja or close to Agbaja, or maybe Nyaito or any of these dances. But you see, although some of the Western musical styles follows part of the framework, what happens is that for them, their culture is mixed up with other different cultures because of, traveling and immigration and all that is mixed up. So at times, some of the essence of their culture is lost. But if you pick the African tradition, most of the things we practice today dates back to about 1,000 years ago. So at least it helps you to find that authenticity. Yes.
Yeah. About 6 years ago, before we even met, I think you sent me a score.
Yeah.
that you wanted me to conduct.
Yeah.
And just before COVID, I think it was.
Yeah.
And the title was pretty controversial. The title was Lucifer.
Yes.
And I said, who is this guy who's sending me music? And I just conducted Messiah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how is it going to sound if I'm going to conduct Lucifer? But I looked through and all you wanted to do was tell the story of the fall of Lucifer from grace but since then I've seen that you've composed The Essence of a Dream, Akwesidae, Piano Concerto No. 1, Gifts of Christ, the opera.
Yeah.
And you've done even settings to responsorial psalms and things like that. Tell me about what inspires your composition?
In fact, my inspirations come from different places. So for example, Essence of My Dream, I was just sleeping, and then this popular Jama song, La ila la ole salam alaikum ila la, it came in mind, and I said, okay, let me just create a composition out of that. So when you listen to a composition, there's a point in time you hear the Jama song fuse into it. At times people don't even notice unless you tell them that, okay, this is a Jama song. They're like, aha. Yes. So usually it can come from folk songs that I hear. Usually it can even come from happenings. not to sound sensual, but I've composed a piece just because I saw my wife's waist beats, and I called it "Ladies in Waist Beats," just to and the piece is such that it kind of complements Krobo women. My wife is a Krobo woman, so it complements them. They like beads and stuff. So I dedicated it to her and Krobo women. So inspiration comes from different angles to me. Yeah.
That's fantastic. You have started what I regard as one of the strongest platforms for classical music, serious classical music in Ghana, the Afro Classical Night. How did that start? Where are we now, and where are we going?
Yeah, so Afro Classical Night it started in 2018, and by then we were doing it at the African Regent Hotel.
I attended a few.
Yeah. It was actually started by two people. There are two co-founders, Jesse Johnson of Choral Music Ghana, and then Presley Joe Black. He's a concert pianist. He's now in the UK, so I'm sure people have been wondering where is Presley. Yeah, he's now chilling in the UK. Yes. So as time went on, this is what we are looking at. We're looking for a platform where instrumentalists, especially, they usually play their classical pieces at home. They don't have any platform. In fact, there was hardly a platform. The only platform that was available was choral music. And it was all over. So many choirs, so many concerts. But we are looking for something where people can enjoy music that's usually not heard. And that's why we created Afro Classical Nights for the audience so that they can enjoy. And we usually do it at the weekend Friday, so that at least people come from work and then they come and enjoy classical music. And secondly, too, for performers, so that at least they have a certain platform. And through Afro Classical Night, I know a lot of people have gotten gigs and people have gotten a chance to travel.
Wow.
Yes. One guy who we organized a recital for, Dennis, he ended up we were able to do a fundraising concert for him, and then he found himself in the University of Columbia studying music.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's brilliant.
Yes. And then there are other people who have gotten chance. In fact, there was a little boy, Caleb. Caleb started playing when he was 10 years old. And when his uncle from abroad saw how he was playing, he bought him a whole piano.
Wow.
Yes. And today, at his age, I think he's 14 years now, and he's able to even organize his own piano concert, his own piano recital. Yes. And so this is what we do for our performers. Then also for composers as well, we try to encourage compositions that are written by Africans, especially living composers too as well. The challenge is that, especially when it comes to Ghanaian composers, most of them are composing sacred music. And in Afro Classical Night, in fact, where the setting is, we organize it at Ghana Club, and the way the setting is, it's some way to come and perform,
sacred music.
My Jesus, I love you. And not as if they are Christians, all right. But I mean, it's Friday, Sunday, I'll go to church. Friday, I want to hear something that is a bit not sinful or anything, but something that's quite secular. I want to hear Chopin. I want to hear something from Nketia. That's what. So usually we try to encourage a lot of compositions that are African but not sacred, and then we also encourage at least works by the European masters, because classical music, it is. Whether I like it or not, when you pick Western classical music, it has its grounds from there.
Of course.
Yes, because they started documenting. Yes, for us, it's recently we started documenting our music and all that. That's how come now we have African classical music and all that. Yes. Just that the name Afro Classical Night confuses people. So when they hear Afro Classical Night, number one, they're expecting to come and hear Afro beats. Some people come and they're like, where are the drums and things? I'm not hearing anything of that sort. And you have to explain to them. Yes.
What has been your biggest challenge in putting that platform and sustaining it, putting it together and sustaining it?
Okay, so Bible class says money answers all things. So number one, money.
Okay. Because
there are times we've had to bring, performers from as far as Brongafo. Okay, and because we usually don't have enough funding, at times it's difficult, especially when the person has to come and then maybe, let's say he's a clarinetist and he has to perform with a pianist in Accra. He has to come and rehearse, and we have to be footing all that bill. It's all coming from our pockets.
Wow.
Yes, so at times it's a challenge. And aside that too, even performers themselves too at times are a challenge, in the sense that you have a few people that are quite, let me use the word, indisciplined. Yes. And so, for example, on the day of the program, you're supposed to arrive by 5:30, latest 6:30, because the program starts at 7. But the program has started and now the person is now getting there. So what will happen is the person just rushes to go and perform and then they mess up. It has happened quite a number of times. We have some of our performers that they are really good. Not that I just want to mention it, but if you pick someone like Fifi Flawless, I mean, Fifi Flawless, already he's practicing. So when he comes to the stage now, he's coming to play. Not that I'm encouraging that, but I think one of the issues we face is discipline from performers. Yes. Yeah, but aside that, I think everything has been okay. In fact, the Ghana club has been supportive of us. Yes, because to host us over there, it's a private club, but they've opened their gates to us and we have the program there without paying a dime.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's great. That's great. There's this issue about Ghanaian audiences and the appreciation of our sort of music. Do you face this challenge?
Okay, so it depends on the repertoire. Usually when my okay, so let me talk from this angle, from my personal point of view. So when I pick my compositions like this and it's being performed, I get maximum appreciation.
Okay.
So for instance, these are people at times they're expecting that from after your concert, they're expecting high life. But they hear something that is not high life, but I can identify with elements, this music. So I think that is where the challenge is. Okay. So and it also comes from the fact that people are also always thinking that African music, drums, they are not able to separate the two. Whereas when you leave the drums, you can hear music that is, particularly African. So at times, I feel as if composers should be doing this more. It will help to increase appreciation for classical music. For instance, if you go to the European classical music history, some of these works, for example, the do so la la so fa fa mi re re do, Mozart, it's a folk tune. Mozart picked it and then he created 12 variations on it. Okay. So something like that, it's made people appreciate it so much. Because by then, classicism was very serious. So music that was being performed at the aristocratic, environments, when you go to the normal bar or the taverns or something, you don't find it there. But because of how Mozart was able to, use the folk music to create, both classes really enjoyed him. I think it's part of the reasons why his name has actually gone far. So I think if we want, especially our Ghanaian audiences to enjoy our music, we should look at some of these things. And I think some composers have done well with that. If you pick Reverend Gadiolakwa, composing using the Ebibinyum style of it to compose. And wherever you go, as soon as you raise that, people really appreciate it. Yes. But if you pick, you are trying to compose in local language and then you are using the Western style, Western chord. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. In fact, it's beautiful. Like there are some of us, we have maximum appreciation for every kind of music, but some people do not.
Do you think since you moved from Africa Regent to Ghana Clubhouse, do you think your audience has grown, or do you see returning audiences?
Okay, so I think it has grown. It has grown because, number one, when we were at African Regent, we used to do it on Thursdays.
Okay.
So people were not getting the chance. But when we shifted it to Friday, in fact, we've had, at times you come to the place and the whole place is full. People are not getting a place to sit. Although we used to face the same problem in African Region, but now it's like there are about 80 chairs at the Ghana Club alone, but everywhere is filled.
Oh, wow.
You see people sitting at the bar and all that. So I think it's growing. It's growing.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. I mean, I don't know where it is that you are going but I can tell that you're a man on a mission.
Yeah.
Can you give us a glimpse into what the future holds?
Yes.
And where you want to take your music?
Yeah. Okay. So for me, first of all, I have a group of people who I'm even training on composition, and I'm doing this mainly because I realize that there's some sort of the style of composition for Ghanaians is stagnant. I realize that everyone is copying from each other, so it's around the same thing. And that's the reason why when I compose and people are like, yours is different, yours is unique. I don't want that. I want it in such a way that everyone has a style. Everyone has a style. I did that, for example, with Gift for Christ. Gift for Christ, an opera that was, should I say, produced last year, November. Actually, the creative producer is Reverend Dr. Kwaku Boakye-Frimpong. I'm sure people know it, the Anglican priest. Yes. And then, in fact, when she met me, she was like, she wants to create something different. She doesn't want to hear Handel's Fonto as a child is born. She wants something new. So I sat down together and I was like, okay, then let me put, number one, our styles, different styles. Dance hall, reggae, jazz, gospel, choral, the African, the Ephraim style of writing. Let me put everything together in an opera just to create moods. And then after that, what I did was the characters in the book or in the opera as well too. In fact, what I wrote for the one playing Joseph, okay, if another person comes to sing, it won't work. You have to get somebody with the same voice quality. So this is what I did. So I looked at all the characters and I composed for them. For example, even the one who played the role of God. In fact, I played a woman, not a man.
No, say that again.
I made the one who played the role of God a woman. Not a man. Yes. Most of the time you watch movies where God is speaking and you hear a bass voice, but in this case, I made a woman play it just to complement, the African belief in a non-gender God. Or even when it comes to the accounts, even call God Onyame Batampa. You know about Batampa, the woman. Yes. So, all I'm trying to say is that I just want to, push people to be different. For me, as I always call myself an expressionist. I do things the way I feel rather than impressing people. Okay, impressionists, they look at maybe the environment and everything composed to suit people. But for me, I try to bring something new and I want to push many of our composers to do that. You can see some people are trying, but they are afraid. They think their music will become obsolete. So they end up doing the same thing over and over. I tell some of the composers in my generation that high life's not a dorsum. If you give 5 hours and then they perform high life and they say I come to do high life songs, there'll still be some left. So why not do something that is different from the norm? Because there are some of the composers, whether you compose high life or not, if your music will be obsolete, it depends on you. So you need to be unique and people will find that from you. Yes.
That's amazing. I want to get your take on this issue. Do you think composers are born or are made?
Hey. This is actually a tough question. Okay, I'll say both. It goes both ways. Okay, because first of all, composition also depends on talent, and at times talents too can be inborn. We have some children; they can naturally. You'll be there; they'll be humming a tune, and you can realize it makes sense. Recently there was a small girl who was trending. The mother was singing the ABCD song, and she was harmonizing. And it's not this normal harmony. Like she was putting in chromatics and stuff. So you can say that probably she has been born with it, but it needs to be nurtured. Okay, I always say that. Yes, I could compose him before I went to do my degree in music. But when I went there, I learned certain things that, number one, made me a more serious composer, in the fact that I didn't take certain conventions for granted. I don't want to get too technical, but for instance, they say when you're harmonizing, you're not supposed to do consecutives. Although in most cases, at times you can write consecutives, but it's more advisable to avoid them and all that. So these are some of the things that I think help me. So I think composers are born and then they are made as well. Usually those who are born and then train, they are born with it and they are trained, they end up, flourishing. But those who they're not really born with the talent, they end up dwelling on rules and conventions. And a typical example is Salieri and Mozart. Yes, Mozart was born with it naturally. Salieri had to work hard, but in the end, who do we hear of? Mozart.
Yeah. So for me, I actually think that composers are born. I think it's an ordination. I think God gives that gift to people.
Yes.
Especially those whose music goes far. People write music, and if you go to music school, you can learn the rudiments of composition and so on. But the masterpieces that you are writing are not. They are from elsewhere.
Funny story. When people heard the composition I wrote for my final year work, that brought about the framework.
Which is what was the title of that?
So that's Sinfonietta Sub-Sahara.
Okay. Yes, I think I saw that.
Yeah. So when I wrote that, and then people listen to composition and they're like, is this not a PhD work? I'm like, which PhD work again? Yeah. But I felt it was something simple because I picked just a small motif. And then I just developed it into a big work. So people were thinking it's supposed to be. I remember there's one composer too. He was like, "No, I should have saved this for PhD. So if I've done this, what will I do during PhD?" I said, "Oh, it doesn't matter. By all means, I'll find something to do when it gets there."
Kwaku.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for up and coming composers, musicians?
I think I've said it already, but I think I'll repeat it again. I think every composer, especially me, I want to talk to my generation. They should strive for being unique. I want to commend one composer, Samuel Duana Mensah. Yes, his composition was performed at the anniversary of Asante Hene.
Oh yes, it's a Tamale.
Yeah, Tamale Youth Choir. Yes. And for him, I've realized that he also, brings his culture or his background into his music. And it's so unique. And I think he's a good example that my generation of composers should follow. Look at your background. You create something unique. People will love it. Don't be scared. Yeah, like I said, high life in the door. So you compose something different. Because our senior composers, we've not finished performing their high lives now. People want to hear what is unique. At times, there's one thing I say: let us trust our audience. At times, we think that our audience appreciation is very low, but the problem is you are not creating something that they can relate to. So just be unique. They relate to your work. That's all I'll tell composers in my
I watched an interview of New Lavanan. And he was asked a question about the next generation of composers. And he mentioned your name. And this was maybe about 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So you're clearly doing something remarkable.
Thank you.
I thought your story needs to be told. People need to go and look for your music and listen to your music. They'll be inspired. It's very heartwarming. It's very African. And you can really tell that this is African classical music. Congratulations, Kwaku.
Thank you very much.
We have a tradition on the podcast where the guest leaves a question for the next guest.
Hey.
So you have the privilege of leaving a question for our next guest. You don't know who he is. I even don't know who he's going to be. You don't even know. But just leave a question. We'll ask them when they come.
Hey, this is hard. Okay, so I think the question I ask, what I'm asking the next guest is, what do you expect from us Ghanaian composers, especially up and coming Ghanaian composers? That's the question I'll ask.
Great, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
Kwaku,
Yeah.
thank you for coming.
Thank you too.
And keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been an honor.
Thank you very much for watching. This has been the Virtuoso podcast, and our guest has been Mr. Kwaku Boakye-Frimpong, the Afrocentric classical musician. If this is your first time, we ask that you kindly subscribe, like, and share our channel so we can bring you more content like this so that others can also benefit from this content. Until next time, my name is Theophil Asamoah Jedu. Thank you for watching the Virtuoso podcast.